Let's stay with legal matters this Friday morning. Judge Phillip Loubser is expected to make a ruling today in the High Court in Bloemfontein on whether or not to allow a trial within a trial in the Asbestos case. Accused number 17, that's Moroadi Cholota, wants to challenge the court's jurisdiction to try her. Cholota is arguing that her extradition from the US was unlawful. The state is opposing her application, though, saying that there's no basis to go into a trial within a trial at this stage. Watching all those movements is SABC News reporter Makgala Masiteng, who's live to us once again from the High Court in Bloemfontein. And Moroadi Cholota, this is not the first time she's essentially made a petition as we anticipate this trial to get underway. I remember at the beginning she had raised concerns even about her bail condition.
Yes, indeed, Ayanda, it is true. Remember, in fact, initially they had indicated that they will be approaching the Supreme Court of Appeal on this matter, of course, to challenge her extradition and also challenging the jurisdiction of this court to try her. So we saw, of course, on Wednesday when this court sittings began, that's when we saw Advocate Makgala, of course, representing Moroadi Cholota, stating to the court, of course, that they actually want that matter to be dealt with here by this court, saying that, of course, they want for the court to grant a trial within a trial. And Ayanda, just taking back to what they've been saying in terms of how they were explaining that she was unfairly treated when she was in the US. You'd remember that when they were arguing that her extradition was unlawful, they were noting, among others, the fact that the state misrepresented facts or lied when they said that she was a fugitive, and the fact that she was refusing to come back to South Africa. And also, Advocate Makgala also stated, among others, that the state even mentioned that Cholota has connections in Kenya, but later on recanted. So those are some of the issues that they say they want the court to start addressing now here in court. But yesterday, of course, the state was making its submissions as well on this application, where, among others, they were indicating, of course, that they are opposing that application, and also stating that, in fact, they don't see the reason or any basis for the court to start dealing with that matter now. It can be revisited later, of course, if something arises that touches on that. But also responding to some of course, arguments that were brought forth by the accused 17, Moroadi Cholota, the state said that there are no basis, and also that talking to the fact that if this continues, this might delay this case further, but also it might cause problems for this case, where, among others, they were talking that if in any of that, at some point, Moroadi Cholota will be called, of course, to testify, they will prove that she's not credible. And in fact, they will also prove that these things that she's been saying about her not being treated fairly in the US, they will prove that that is a lie. So we saw a little bit of arguments between the two yesterday, where, among others, the state prosecutor, Johan Denesen, was saying Moroadi Cholota's claims that she was treated unfairly in the US is actually lies, because he said to the court that, in fact, he was wrapped in cotton. That's how she was treated. He even said that officials could have been more harsher and still be in the bounds of the law while they were dealing with her. You would remember, Ayanda, just going back, that this is the same person where we know back in 2020 she was considered to be a key state witness, but things changed in 2021, where we were now told or heard that she is now going to be added as part of the accused on this matter. In fact, in 2020, they were indicating, and I remember some of the bail conditions for Ace Magashule then when he was released on bail. It was the fact that he should not contact Moroadi Cholota because she is the state witness. But of course, that has changed, and we found ourselves here today where we are expecting Judge Phillip Loubser, of course, to make that ruling in terms of whether we are going continuing with the trial rather, or we'll have a trial within a trial. And yesterday, of course, we saw them making those applications where Moroadi Cholota advocate through her lawyer, of course, advocate Makgala, was saying that the case law that the state is actually stating when they are saying that the court doesn't have to deal with this matter now is actually not even supporting their claim, because all of those that they have stated actually supports their case that this matter should be dealt with before the trial continues. So we'll see where Judge Loubser will be taking this case today with his decision. But just going back as well, that accused too, Ayanda, if you would remember, that he's been indicating that he's not ready to proceed with a trial. On Wednesday, in fact, he did mention to the court again, coming back to say we are still not ready to proceed with the trial, and also saying that in fact this will put him in an unfairly position because most of the evidence that will be led by the state will somehow be implicating him as the accounting officer on this matter, Ayanda.
All right, Makgala Masiteng, thanks very much indeed for that. We're certainly getting a sense that there are still a lot of delays ahead before we really get to the substance of this case. Makgala Masiteng is live to us from the High Court in Bloemfontein. For now, thanks very much indeed.